Don't fall in love with the property, fall in love with the profits. Right?
Okay, I like that.
So when you're buying a house, all that stuff we see on HGTV, look, man, I want the one that comes at a discount. Like I told y'all, it was worth $180. I paid $120. That's the one I like. Right?
Yes, sir.
I could paint, I could change the carpet, I could do everything else to make it something I like, but I like that money first.
I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna give me a.
What's up? You are now listening to FY Fly the podcast, and I'm your host, Hassan Thomas, along with Remy, and we are here to share tools on how millennials can budget, save, invest, and understand student debt and credit to achieve financial freedom. If you're a high school student, college student, or someone who's interested in gaining more financial insight, this podcast is for you.
I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna give me a bag.
What's up, my FY Fly folks out there? How y'all doing? I hope y'all doing all right. Welcome to the FY Fly podcast. My name is Hassan Thomas, a.k.a. the kid that did and the man that can, baby. And today, we're going to be chopping up with your coach's coach, your real estate mentor's mentor, Mr. Ed Davis, man. How you doing, boss? How you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing real good. I'm happy to be here. That was one hell of an intro you got there, brother.
They say I need to be on radio, man.
Hey, man, it's a whole nother level.
Yes, sir, man. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for joining the podcast, joining the platform, man. Because believe it or not, man, I've been wanting to talk to you for a little bit, man. Real talk.
That's what's up, man. You know, I actually have been excited about coming to do this. I think our paths have crossed. You know, we've been in some of the same places, but just hadn't had an opportunity to connect with each other. So this is going to be fun.
Facts, man. So really here at FY Fly, we like to skip the fluff and get right into the good stuff, my man.
Let's do it.
Give us, like, what was your first move, your first big play into real estate? And was it like a happy marriage like we seeing now? Or was there some rough patches in the beginning?
Man, you know, to be honest with you, my very first deal was a match made in heaven, man. Really.
Lord, talk to us.
Absolutely. So the first property that I actually moved forward on and purchased, right? Because that's the difference between you kind of step out there, but you don't really pull the move. You don't really pull the trigger on anything, right? I definitely had my fair share of those, but when I actually pulled the trigger on a deal, my very first property was a duplex that I bought in Houston, Texas, man.
Major.
So I bought a duplex back in 2012, and it was in the neighborhood that I grew up in, right? I grew up in South Park, which is a low-income hood, and I always tell people, start with what you know. You know, I knew that community. I knew the people in that area. I knew how they thought. I knew what was important to them. I knew the schools. I knew, everything about, crime or, where people like to go to the grocery store, the major churches, all of those things. And so I started there. My very first property, man, I made $60K fresh out the gate. And so,
man. So that's amazing, bro. That's amazing. And I want to touch on something that you said. You said that you did have your fair share of, pity paddling, half stepping a little bit before you really, pulled the trigger. And I feel like tons of people are in that same situation right now.
Absolutely.
What were some of the things that was holding you back from pulling that trigger?
Just the fear of unknown, right?
Understood.
I didn't really understand, was I getting a good price? Was I actually going to be able to find a tenant? I didn't know that a lot of that research could be done up front, and I could know exactly how much I was going to make off the property before I put up any money or before I signed any paperwork, right? And so that lack of knowledge caused me to back out. And I learned when I went back to that job that I hated, I had to sit there in that temporary building with my hard hat on and my Timberland boots.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, man, you know what am I really going to do? Because I've lost hope now. I thought real estate was the thing that was going to change my life. It was going to take me out of this job that I don't like. When I didn't have no path forward, no hope, no game plan, that's what I was going to do. And once that was stripped away from me, I was just there. you know, just kind of floating for months trying to figure out, like, well, what's my next play?
Yeah.
And so I went out and got myself some education on real estate. You know, I started reading the books, hiring coaches, getting the mentors, and I came back strong, man.
I think that's a huge key that you said. You went out and got that education because, and I want everybody to listen to that story, but relate it to what you're going through right now. A lot of folks, a lot of athletes, you know, after the sport that we play, whether it be football, volleyball, soccer, basketball, if we don't make it to that next level, that next professional, you know, at a professional level, then we're at that same place that you were at when that real estate deal didn't work out. Where you're looking like, man, everything was on real estate, everything was on football, everything was on basketball. Now what do we do?
Yep.
You know what I mean? So for everybody listening, apply that to your life. Okay, there's something new that I want to do, but you have to get educated on that thing first, whether it's real estate, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's trading, anything of that nature, anything, any new passion that you got, go get educated in it first. And I have a method, bro, that I call the EAR method, and it's how to apply value. So it's educate yourself, apply yourself, and then rejuvenate yourself so you're able to provide that value.
I like that, man. I really like that. I hope y'all was listening to that EAR method.
Facts, man.
Yeah, man. You brought up a good point because I have a couple of friends who played in the NFL, and you know, running backs and played on championship teams and stuff like that. When they get out the league and their bodies all beat up and they realize that, you know, there may not be a space for them. They don't know where they belong after coming out of the league. And how am I going to continue to generate the same amount of money and the same lifestyle that I had before, plus be able to pay for all the medical treatment that the team was providing me for? Because now I got messed up knees, messed up back. I need to masseuse 3-4 times a week, right? And real estate has really been something that has helped them to replace that income, maintain the same lifestyle when they didn't know what was going to be next, and it didn't require them to have to get a job or to continue to work it. When you think like a real estate CEO, and you know, get you a team and you have processes and procedures that they follow, like anybody could do it.
Like I said, I wanted to get your opinion because there's, you know, we talk about, you know, stocks a lot, and comparing, you know, real estate to stocks. Why is real estate an investment that you should also own as well?
Man, so I'm gonna tell you from my experience, right?
Yeah.
Before I got into the real estate game, I was investing in stock, right? And so I was throwing tens of thousands of dollars at the stock market. I'm buying all the right companies: Apple, Visa, American, Bank of America, just Amazon, everything. And I'm loading up on this stuff, but I'm throwing tens of thousands of dollars at it, and I'm seeing it go up a couple hundred, right?
Gotcha.
I'm like, this is a good play, but it's long term. When I did the real estate, I threw $7,800 at this thing, and I made $60.
Came up 60.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at my dividends from my stock, and I'm like, okay, I made like 50 cents per share, and I own 300 shares. Right? But I'm like, this rental property is giving me $1,000 a month. So when I started looking at my stock portfolio, I just viewed it a little different, right? I'm like, okay, there's definitely some room for it in my portfolio, but I want to make sure that I get the real estate first, and then I can take some of that $1,000 every month that's left over and go buy some stock. And so that's what I ended up doing.
That makes sense. So it sounds like, listening to what you're saying, investing is a long-term play. So you definitely still a proponent of investing, long-term investing, correct?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So while your money is making money in the stock market for the long term, let's go out there and devote our time and our resources to something with a major ROI, a major return on investment. $7,800 to $60,000. Come on, man. I feel like we're, you know, especially nowadays, there's so many different things that we can try, so many different outlets that we can, attempt. Let's put the one that's bringing the most bang for our buck first, and then let's go try the different things that we want to do. Like, do what we need to do, and then go do what we want to do. You know?
Absolutely, man. And like when I was making that decision 12 years ago, man, right? Mm-hmm. No, let's see, it's 2022. I really was sitting down thinking about this stuff in 2007, right? So 15 years ago, when I'm sitting down in that position that you just described, my whole goal was to have financial, location, and time freedom, right? Okay. I already had money coming in from my job, and I knew, like, okay, I'm making six figures. I'm not even cashing my checks. They're coming in, but I'm working 6 days a week, 11 hours a day. I'm off on Sundays. I might catch a Cowboys game, and that's it. I'm back to work. See the sucker, yeah, Cowboys fan, huh?
Man, it's crazy. My pops, my nana, everybody else Cowboys fans. I'm a Atlanta fan. I'm a Deion Sanders, Mike Vick type of guy, man.
Hey, Deion is my favorite player of all time, man. All time. Yeah.
Facts.
But when I was sitting in that position and I'm trying to think, like, what do I want to do? I got all these options on the table. I started to study, and I was like, you know what? 90% of all wealthy people invest in real estate, and they use 90%. Real estate. See what I'm saying? They use the real estate to create the wealth, and then they use all of the tax benefits and everything else that you get in real estate to protect the wealth and keep it growing, right?
Makes sense.
And so I'm like, if I'm going to bet my freedom on something, I'm going to just not reinvent the wheel, but instead I'm just going to copy what I see the rich people doing. Because that's a for sure way. It has worked 90% of the time. And these are the people that actually have the money and the time to hire consultants and professionals. I can just go copy their blueprint instead of trying to figure it out with my limited resources. So that was kind of the mentality that made me say, I'm going to start with the real estate and then I'll come back to everything else.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I appreciate you breaking that down, man. Because really, I believe that a lot of our young folks, we think that making our first real estate purchase, whether it be an investment or just to live in, will be super difficult. So can you break down? I saw that on your IG. You had kind of like 4 pillars of buying a home. Could you break that down for us?
All right. So look, it's super simple, right? When it comes to real estate, all you really need is that down payment and the closing costs to get the property, right?
Okay.
You want
down payment and closing costs.
Down payment and closing costs, right? Typically, your down payment is going to be 3.5% on your first property, right? As long as you're willing to live in that property, you can buy a property that has 1 door, 2 doors, 3 doors, or 4 doors. So if you want to live in one, you can rent the other 3 out, and now you got free housing and you're making a profit.
And that 3.5%, that's with that FHA loan?
It's an FHA loan, right? That's one of the easiest loans to get approval for, especially when you're just getting started, right?
Okay.
And so once you have that money saved up, now you're going looking for properties. A realtor is going to go out and find the properties that meet your criteria and bring them to you. Now, all you got to do is pick out the ones that you like. And I always say, like, don't fall in love with the property, fall in love with the profits. Right?
Okay, I like that.
So when you're buying a house, all that stuff we see on HGTV, look, man, I want the one that comes at a discount. Like I told y'all, it was worth $180. I paid $120. That's the one I like. Right?
Yes, sir.
I could paint, I could change the carpet, I could do everything else to make it something I like, but I like that money first. Right?
For sure.
So when you get to that point, you're going to go through an appraisal process, and that's where a professional will come out and tell you what this property is actually worth, so you make sure that you're not overpaying for it. All right?
And really, real quick question. Once we saved up that money, say, for example, some people, they're still saving, strictly in cash. Do we need to have credit to buy a home? Do we need to have, like, was there a certain score that we need to have? Like, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, so you're going to absolutely need to have credit to buy a home. if you want to be able to grow your portfolio. Like when I say I got 215 doors, it's largely because I'm leveraging my credit. I'm getting somebody else to give me the money to purchase the property. So if you're putting 3.5% down, somebody else is putting the other 96.5% down, and they want to know, hey, you got a good credit score? Is you somebody I can trust? And so you can get that done with as low as a 580. Okay. But when you have a 680 or higher, now you get to pick and choose who you're working with, and you're gonna get better terms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. So after that appraisal, my bad, I just wanted to get that for the folks listening.
It's all good. It's all good. When we come out of the appraisal, now we're going into the inspection, right? And so the inspection is really letting you know what things are wrong with the property, right? That way you don't buy a piece of junk and not know it. Okay. And so like that whole appraisal and inspection thing, they kind of happen at the same time. So sometimes the appraisal will come first, or the inspection. Typically, they're happening around the same time, right? So you're understanding, what am I buying, what is it worth, and what's wrong with it, right? When you come out of that phase, you got a little short option period to choose, hey, do I want to buy this thing or not, right? Okay. And then after that option period, now we go into funding, right? That's when the bank is going to start, you're going to start negotiating your interest rates and down payment, and how much do you have to bring to closing and stuff like that. That process normally takes about 30, maximum 45 days, but typically 30 days.
Okay.
You're a homeowner.
That's not bad. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Let's jump back to what we were talking about before. You were about to break down the two biggest reasons that wealthy people, 90% of wealthy people, have stuck with real estate. And you, I believe you were starting with appreciation. So if you could bounce back to there for us, let's definitely get into that.
Absolutely. So there's really 5 reasons. I call them the real estate Fab 5.
Yes, sir.
Why wealthy people choose real estate to build their wealth and maintain their wealth, right? And number 1 is appreciation, which is the value of the property going up over time, right? You don't have to do any work to get that value. So some of us have grandparents who bought properties, 30, 40 years ago. They lived in the house. The house is falling apart. You like, Nana, you need to get you a new roof. She like, I ain't got the money, baby. Right? That house is easily worth 3-4 times what she paid for it. Right? We call that appreciation. When we look around and you hear people say, man, the taxes are going up, that's because everybody around you, the value of their property is rising. Okay. And so that typically goes up by 3 to 5% every single year across the nation. That's the average. Okay. Wow. So the other thing is leverage, right? So leverage allows me to control 100% of this house for a fraction of the cost. So I told you, I bought a property that was worth $180,000, but I only had to put up $7,800. Right? So I have 100% of the rent that I get. I get 100% of the appreciation and all of the rest of the benefits that go with it. But I only have to put a fraction of the money down. I'm able to leverage my good credit and other people's money to purchase my properties. Okay?
Shout out OPM.
That's what's up. Right? Then we have what we call depreciation. Okay. And depreciation is a tax benefit that the federal government gives us just for simply owning the property. Right? Ain't got to do nothing. It could be a piece of junk. It don't matter. That allows me for 27 and a half years to get a tax benefit. Right? So I told y'all earlier, I got this property. It's worth $120,000. Right? The federal government will let me write off a percentage of that money every single year. So I take that 120 divided by 27 and a half, and every year I'm getting a tax benefit. So whatever that number is, every year, let's just say if it's $5,000, every year the first $5,000 I make, I don't pay no taxes on it. That can be at your job, your stock, your whatever.
That's amazing.
Right? Absolutely. And then we have tax benefits, which are tax write-offs. I can write off my gas, my food, my entertainment, my travel. I go to the masseuse. All of my little hobbies and stuff that I have. All of those things, as long as I have a reasonable business, a business reason for going out and doing these things, I can write them off. So if me and you decided, hey, we about to go to Cancun, we just gonna look at some real estate while we there.
Yeah.
Right? So I can write all of that stuff off. So I got appreciation, I got depreciation, I got tax benefits, I got leverage, I got cash flow coming from the property.
Cash flow.
Right? After the tenants pay me, the money that's left over after all the bills are paid, that's my cash flow. I'm putting that in my pocket. Right? And then the last of those benefits, because it's a bonus benefit, is what I call mortgage pay down. Right?
Okay. So
every month when the tenant pays me, I take a portion of that money and I send it to the mortgage company. Right? And they take a portion of that and it goes towards paying off what I owe them. So at the end of 30 years, I had a free house that I didn't pay for.
Somebody else paid for the house down.
Somebody else paid for it.
Man, sounds like that. And I think leverage may be the biggest thing that I took from out of there.
That's the superpower. Right?
Being able to put down $7,800, leverage other people's money, leverage your renter's money to pay down the mortgage. It's just, constantly making play after play after play. So I'm really starting to see the true power of this real estate, man. Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I don't want to take the long route. I don't want to bump my head. And I realized that the money that I would have paid somebody to show me how to do it the right way, I spent that making mistakes. I spent that, getting cold feet and not moving forward.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. That's 100%. That's 100% true, because, like you said, even if it's not the money that we're wasting, it's the time. It's
Absolutely.
the time that we're wasting from trying to figure it out ourselves, trying to, piece 7,500 YouTube videos together and try to come up with one plan from 75 different videos compared to saving 7,500 and paying an expert who can teach you how to do it in 7 days or less.
Absolutely. And that has paid off dividends in my life, right? So a part of my 215 doors is multifamily apartment complexes. I own 140 units in Florida.
Major.
And my original game plan was like, I'm gonna do that when I'm 50. I hired a coach and he was like, we're gonna do that in the next 60 days. And I was like, what?
That's crazy. See, you had a lifelong goal, hired the right person, and he said, we're going to do this in 2 months.
Yep.
He said, we're going to do it in 2 months.
I didn't believe in myself. I didn't understand how it was going to happen or how it was going to work. And the man told me, he said, look, I'm so confident that we can get this done. I own apartment complexes. If you can't buy one from somebody else, I'll sell you one of mine. Oh, okay. Now the fear, now all of the excuses that I gave myself for why I wasn't ready, that's out the window now, right? It's game time.
So I think also as well, what may be stopping some people from going out there and paying for this help is that word help. A lot of us are very prideful. Like you said, we want to do it ourselves. We're very prideful, but I think if you really want to get to your destination, you really want to get to your goal, you're going to have to pay for some things to expedite it. Like, of course, you may get to your goal, it may take you, 25 years, 10 years, 30 years to get your, 140 unit when you're 50, or you could pay someone and get it done in 2 months. So I think that's a major lesson here, listening to this. If you really want to get to that destination, you're gonna have to pay to play. you're gonna have to put that initial knowledge and education in. So even because if you don't have that knowledge, you won't even know if your coach is gonna do you right or do you wrong because you don't know nothing.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing we can lose is not money, it's hope.
Yeah,
and that's what happened to me after I backed out on that first deal and didn't go through with it. I'm sitting back at my desk. I started to go through a little mild depression.
Yeah.
We wasn't talking in 2007, 2008. We wasn't talking about mental health and none of that stuff. But I definitely was suffering as I sat there at my desk, and I realized like this pride ain't gonna get me out of this position. So let me go get some help.
Man, and you're speaking about when you were working your 9 to 5. So once you started, so my question is, when did you leave your 9 to 5? If you're not still there now, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So when did you depart from your 9 to 5? Like, when is the right time, in your opinion, to, all right, boom, we got the real estate plays jumping. Like, walk us through that mindset. Yo, are you ready to hit your next level? Do you want to increase your drive, destiny, and dollars? Well, if so, check out my new book, From College to COVID, 24 Lessons Learned During the Lockdown, where I've compiled 5 of the biggest lessons I learned going from college to COVID to starting my financial literacy empire, FY Fly, plus 19 lessons from your favorite entrepreneurs, entertainers, and athletes that have been featured on our show. There's literally something for everyone. So purchase your copy today at fyfly.com/From College to COVID. Let's go.
Yeah, so like I told y'all, my whole thing was financial, location, and time free. I needed all 3 because my job was already giving me financial freedom. I could buy what I wanted. I could do what I want. I didn't have the time to spend the money.
Gotcha.
Right? And I had to be in this plant all day, so I didn't have the freedom, the location freedom to go and enjoy it and spend time with my family. So I was looking for a way to have all 3 of those. And so my focus was always on, I'm not going to be a landlord. I'm going to be a CEO. I am going to make sure that I have the right process, the right procedures, the right team members, so that when I put in this work today to buy this property, I can eat off of it for the rest of my life without having to do any more work.
Makes sense.
And then when I'm done with it, I want to pass this to my kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids, and I'll be long and gone, and they'll still be eating off of that work that I did back in 2012, right? And so to answer that question, what I would say is that you need a solid game plan with an actual process that you've already tested. It's already proven that this thing is working, right? Yeah. And then you need to have determination that I'm going to make this work. I'm not quitting. There is no plan B. I'm going to make this work, right? And so when you go out there with that mentality and you're actually putting in the work to get it done, now all we waiting on is that cash flow and that proof of concept that like, hey, okay, I tested it 2 or 3 times. I got $3,000 coming in every month. If I live within this $3,000 budget, I'm straight.
Okay.
You know? And I tell you what, a free man that only makes $3,000 a month is way happier than a man that makes $20,000 a month that has to go through a job.
Hey, that's a big statement right there.
I promise you that, man. When you wake up in the morning at the time you want to, when you don't have to sit in no rush hour traffic, you don't have to, put on the song and dance for people that you don't like, that you feel like, you know what, I know more than this person. I got more experience. They just don't, man, you just been here longer, right?
Yeah.
When you don't have to do all of that stuff, you get to decide what you want to eat, where you want to eat, who you want to eat with, all of that kind of stuff, man, you can never go back. And for me, I retired at 29, but my whole thought process at that time, like I wasn't even thinking, oh, I'm about to retire from my job. Really, when I left my job, it was like, okay, real estate is working. It's on autopilot. I'm about to go build this financial app. And so I left my job at 29. At that time, it hadn't even clicked to me that I was retired. Like I never have to go back. To me, it was just like, I got other stuff that I want to do. so I'm not gonna keep coming here every day.
Makes
I'm
sense.
making money on autopilot for my real estate that now I can go spend, every day when I wake up. I'm hiring a development team to build me an app, and like that's what we doing every day.
And I got a question that's off topic, but it's kind of on topic as well. For our young folks listening who've never rented or owned a property, and if you owning a property, it's an investment. But what are some of the factors that you should ask yourself when, maybe renting a home or owning a home? Or for you, is there ever a time that you should rent a home? Like, talk to us about that, because there's so many different, opinions out there.
Absolutely, right? So we already established that the way to wealth, the proven path to wealth, is through real estate ownership, right? So I think that everybody should take it off the table of like, should I own a house or not? Yes, you absolutely should own a house, because I gave you those real estate big five, and you need that in your life, right?
Yes, sir.
And I also like to say, look, you're born into real estate because the hospital that you're born in is on a piece of real estate, right? And then you die in real estate because that graveyard is real estate as well, right?
Makes sense.
So don't spend your whole life not owning any of that process. So we absolutely know that the pathway to wealth is ownership. So now we have the question of when, right? And I say that there are a couple of things that you need to have before you buy your first property. But as soon as you have these things, do not wait. Go for it, right? And the first thing is you want to build your credit score up to a 680 or higher, right? The second thing is you want to have that money to cover your down payment and closing costs. That's typically going to run you about $8,000 to $12,000.
Okay.
Right?
So 680, and then a savings of at least $8,000 to $12,000 for the closing costs.
Absolutely, right? Then you need to have some type of a budget. You need to be living off of a game plan, not just out here winging it. Because when you buy a house, it comes with some other expenses and some savings. There's no maintenance man for you to call, and he just come fix the toilet. You're going to have to make sure that you got a little money set to the side for the toilet, right?
Okay.
And so I would say make sure that you have a budget, and you also want to have a reliable income source, right? You don't want to be out here like wondering, can I pay the bills tomorrow, right? But if you have those items, you got that reliable income source, a 680 or higher credit score, the $8,000 to $12,000 to cover the down payment, and you have a spending plan, aka a budget, it's go time. All right.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I say don't wait after that, right? A lot of times, even with myself, I fell into the trap of not pulling the trigger because it's like, I don't know if I'm old enough or if I'm mature enough or like, am I the right age for a house? That's a lot of responsibility. But what you got to remember is you already handling that responsibility. You already paying a mortgage. It's just somebody else's, right? When I was renting an apartment, guess what? They took my portion of the taxes, the insurance, the HOA, the mortgage payment, the yard maintenance, the repairs, all of that stuff. And they say, hey, this is your portion of the bill every single month. And I was never late on that rent. So why not just start paying my own mortgage instead of making somebody else's family rich? And so that would be the mentality. Like, as soon as you got those things, it's go time.
That's a great key for everyone listening. 680, at least the 8,000 to 12,000 saved up in the bank, and then have that reliable income source. And when you said that, I was like, man, this is a great play. You know, a lot of, especially nowadays on social media, everybody, kind of, talks down on a 9-to-5 worker and, entrepreneurship this, entrepreneurship that. But that, what you describe, especially for like a young person who already has their income, have reliable income, this sounds like a great move to hop into real estate. You have constant income coming in. You're able to constantly raise your credit score at a young age. Sounds like a no-brainer, because especially with a young entrepreneur, we could make $4,000 one month and then the next month make zero,
Absolutely.
So that's why where that budget comes in as well, even for the entrepreneurs. Okay, boom. I know I'm an entrepreneur, and things go up and down, especially in the early stages. Let's save $2,000. Let's not blow this $4,000 because it's here. So I got one final question for you, man. I'm gonna read you 2 quotes, and I need you to tell me which one is more accurate in your opinion. All right?
Okay.
Bet. So the first quote is, "More money, more problems," like Biggie. And the second quote is, "Money can't buy happiness." Which one is more accurate in your opinion? I feel like I know which way you going with it, but talk to us.
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Neither.
Oh, for real? Okay, I wasn't expecting that one.
The reason I say that is because, the more money you have, it doesn't mean more problems, right? In my experience, the more money I have, the more experts I can hire to help me, the more opportunities I have to explore and enjoy things, right?
Yeah.
And so I think money without a plan, or money where you're trying to do everything on your own, now that presents problems. But money with a game plan and a team, we ain't got no problems. We got opportunities, and it's just a lot of fun, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and then I would say, when people say money can't buy happiness, I don't agree with that one either. Like, money will buy you everything that you need to enjoy life, right? Money can buy things for my wife, for my kids. My niece came to me the other day, and she wanted the what they call them, the mocha Jordans, right? They was like $800 on Go.
$800, good Lord.
So I bought her these Jordans. That made me happy, man. Seeing her face, seeing her smile, and for what I'm not happy with, if I got emotional issues or childhood traumas and stuff I'm dealing with, I can go hire a therapist to sit down and help me walk through that. If you ain't got no money, you don't have no way of getting rid of them problems. So I'm always default on, let's get the money and we'll figure it out after that.
I love that. I love how you broke down both of them, bro, because that's facts, man. And because earlier when you said, you would much rather be the person making $3,000 with financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom, compared to the person making $20,000 and having no location or time freedom. So I thought you was gonna lead to that money can't buy happiness, but that breakdown really does make sense, because if you ain't got the money, you not gonna be happy.
Not at all, man. You stressed. You arguing with people that you love. We don't never argue, but now we in here arguing with each other, and I'm mad. I'm ready to throw something at you. That ain't even my personality.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want them kind of problems, man. So go get you some money.
Big facts, man. Big facts, man. Thank you so much for joining the FY Fly podcast, man. Let the folks know where they can reach you, and if you got any final words, go ahead, boss.
Absolutely, man. So you can find me on Instagram at Ed Davis the Mogul, and Mogul is spelled MOGOAL. And you can also shoot me a text at 713-597-6370. I respond to my text messages, and if you text me the word freedom to 713-597-6370, I'll send you a free roadmap. It's the game plan that I use step by step to retire at the age of 29, to build a portfolio of 215 doors across multiple states without ever having to deal with any tenants or any toilets. And I'll close with saying, think like a real estate CEO, not a landlord. Put this thing on autopilot and enjoy your life.
You dig? Man, appreciate you jumping on, man. Everybody listening, make sure y'all not only learning and not just listening to this information, but actually applying and implementing this information, because I promise, as you can see from the guy we talking to right now, it will change your life.
Absolutely.
So again, thank you again, man. And everybody listening, stay safe, stay invested, and stay FY Fly. We'll see y'all next week.
Thank you all for listening to FY Fly, the podcast, and we hope you enjoyed the show. Tune in next week for more financial literacy insights with our special guests. Please visit our website, social media platforms, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at FYI Fly Podcast. That's FYI FLI Podcast. See y'all next week and stay fly.